Yeah, I mean, I know that it's always great to have those guys that go on and play football at higher levels, but, I know the older I get, and I mean, I'm still a young guy, but the older I get, the more I realize, that's the things you want to see is, those guys just being good community leaders and doing things to help other people 10, 15, 20 years down the road.
Yeah, the other night, Saturday night, I went out with one of the former guys, Tyler Ney, and we were talking because he played at UCM, and he was one of Willie Fritz's guys. Willie Fritz down at Tulane, and and I played with Willie in college, so it was one of those deals that we were talking about the possibility and Willie being the coach. We were wondering how that happened, because we had always thought that he was going to be the Mizzou guy, and so it was really good to hear him talking about that, and the fact that he played for Willie, and now Willie's in that position, and that's just the relationships that just seem to snowball like that.
I mean, I know, one of my high school coaches, John Hilton from Grandview. He's the AD out of Lawrence now. I mean, we text back and forth probably several times a week, just talking about different stuff.
You don't know how this works. My stepson went to Olathe North and played for Hilton when he was at Hilton.
Yeah, when he was the OC.
Yep, I know Coach Hilton.
They had a cat when he was OC named Isaiah Simmons. Pretty good.
My stepson Cole played for at that time.
Okay.
He was a second-team long snapper when Isaiah was there. So.
Yeah, I told the story, a couple times, but my first year at East, Simmons was a senior, and I mean, watching guys on film, sometimes you're like, he's not that fast, or I don't know. I'm hearing all this stuff about him. Right. But how good is he really? And, I mean, that night when I saw him, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
how talented that kid was.
There's so many. I watched him playing some playoff games, and when he was at North, and I think both of the ones I watched, they had lost to Blue Valley, one in overtime and one on a last-second deal, and and you just marvel. Played offense, defense, just a huge kid, and you just thinking like, I give that guy the ball every time.
I know. That's funny. Hilton will joke with me about that. He's like, my job was so easy because I just had to get it to him.
Yeah, exactly. Find a way to get it to him. He
did pretty good for us.
Yeah, so he's declared for the draft. Where is he projected to get drafted right now? Is he around
top
one guy?
10?
Yeah, he's top 10.
He's top 10.
Yeah, I remember. Just watching him at Clemson. Man, he's nasty. I never got to see him in high school. Not like Gary did firsthand. I got to watch him at Clemson. So it'd be interesting to see if he's gonna. Do you think he's gonna stay linebacker, or do you do more like safety stuff?
I feel like he could play about anywhere.
On that. Anything. He could be a rush in, be an outside backer, be an inside backer, and safety, corner. It'd be a little tough for him at corner just because of his height, but I think he could definitely play safety.
Yeah. Does Dallas need him, Gary?
Hey, I wouldn't be mad. Let's just say I would not be mad if that guy.
That's right.
Actually, that would help out quite a bit because Dallas offense is like number one yardage, right?
Dallas offense is pretty good, yeah. So, to get a guy like that on defense. And, who knows, maybe he could, be like the old school Dion guy that maybe you throw him, you have a package for him.
That's right, a little bit of offensive package.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, as a high school coach, especially at your smaller schools, if you got a guy that can do it all, he does it all.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. You find that guy, and he don't leave the field. So.
Yeah. And he didn't, that night against us, and that it was a quarterfinal game in the playoffs, and Isaiah Simmons didn't. He was everywhere. I think he returned a kick. I think he made about every tackle on defense against our flex bone attack, and then he scored on offense at least once, maybe twice. My memory's not hitting it right now, but the one I remember was a bubble.
I think I was at that game.
Were you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, a bubble on our sideline, and I thought our safety had an angle on him, and Simmons hit another gear that nobody on the field other than him had.
So did you guys go for two in the second overtime? Was that game, or was it?
No, that wasn't. No, that wasn't that game.
Okay.
We lost. We had got it to I think a 1-score game late in the third quarter, and that's when he took the kickback, and it kind of broke our will, and just we were kind of done after that.
Well, he did that to a few people. So.
Yeah, I mean, like we as coaches were trying to rally the troops there, but those kick returns, sometimes can just be a killer.
Yes.
So we've talked about some players that played for you and that jump out, and some of those relationships that you said you still have now. We know Tim Grunhard is probably the most famous assistant, the one that jumps out. You gave him his start in coaching, and then he went on to the Bishop Miege. But how did that relationship start?
Tim's agent at the time, old Fuzzy Kramer, Ken Kramer, was his agent, and he was part of the St. Therese Diocese up in North Kansas City, and he was tasked with trying to help raise some money for St. Therese. And one of the things he was doing was he had Tim, and we put on this camp, and we at Pius kind of ran the camp. Mm-hmm. And Tim was kind of the name of the camp, the name on the camp, and so they had it at Pius. And we just ended up, we did that camp for forever. We did it for St. Therese for a couple of years, and then when he got done with his donation for St. Therese, they kind of moved it over, and it became the Tim Grunhard, Rick Byers camp, and we ran it for probably 15 years or so together until he went to Miege. And then once he went to Miege, we ran the camp there for a couple of years together, and so then he kind of moved off on his own. But we just got to know each other through there, and then when he decided he was going to retire from the NFL, I said, Tim, come on over and just coach. And I kept on him, and he didn't do it the first time. The first year, he said, I don't want to step on no toes. And then the next year, he was a little low, not playing, and I finally got him to do it, and it turned out to be a great deal for both of us. It kind of re-energized him, and it kind of re-energized me, and probably of all the guys I've been around coaching, I've never seen a guy process football that fast. That guy, I'm one of those guys that I always have to have a pen and paper to make sure I don't forget stuff. Mm-hmm. But Tim just, his mind, it works really quick as far as processing information, especially football, blocking schemes and those kind of things. And so I learned a lot from him, and I think hopefully he learned a little bit from me and took that over to Miege. And I always remember the night he called me and said they had offered him the job, and I always kick myself now. I always think, man, if I had said no, don't take the job, I could have had Tim stay there. I could have had his son that's playing at Notre Dame. I could have became the swim coach at Pius because his two daughters swim collegiately. So I said I just should have said no. I could have kept him for another couple of years. But
swim dad.
I told him.
You would have been the swim dad then.
That's right. I wouldn't have mattered. I'd have I'd at least had 6 state championships under my belt.
I was say so. What we're saying is that you sowed the seeds for what Miege became today.
I don't say that, but I just say that it was Tim did a great job when he went in there, man. It was a total reclamation project, and he did it. And I was there at the press conference when he said it was all about winning state championships, and everybody laughed, and he did it.
I remember when Miege and Ward was a game.
Yeah.
Don't play it today. That used to be a good game to go to.
I was saying when he took it over, how many games did they won the previous year? I thought I heard it was like 1.
Yeah, it hadn't been. It wasn't a lot.
It was. I know it was no more than 2. When he did, but I know he sent out a nice tweet the other day after the news was announced, and we'll kind of get there in a minute and talk more about that. But that was a guy that I know Coach Holmes tweeted out too, that some of the things that Tim brought, the championship period that he brought with him from Pius, from your program and things like that. Just so kind of.
Yeah, those guys they were just getting started, and Tim was, trying to get his assistants lined out, and John was a great guy. You could see John was hungry to learn, and boy, he just picked it up and ran with it. So he's a good guy. And
you've ended up with all the high profiles over there. Charlie Wise.
Yeah, Charlie Wise Jr. was there. Charlie did a great job, and Charlie, I just talked to him the other day. He's down in South Florida. That was always a great one because. Charlie came in when Charlie Sr. came to Kansas City, and Charlie, they were looking, and it was kind of funny that the Parmalee kid that went to KU and Charlie and those guys came together, and Tim said Tim told the Parmalee went to Miege and Charlie Jr. came to Pius, so and Charlie ended up being a great kid for us. Shit, he was smarter than me as a coach. Probably that kid was he knew how to break down film, and he was probably a bigger help to us in the film room than I could have ever imagined. And then it speaks for itself. He's gone on and been at Alabama and all these places, and he's done a great job. But he was one of those kids that just loved football, wanted to play. So.
Yeah. DJ Patel was another guy.
DJ's one of my guys, and
he tried
great
to get friend of mine.
Tried to get me drunk. He tried to get me drunk when he was a bartender.
Yeah,
and then
that's what he's famous for.
And then
right?
he told me, and then he kept saying, "Hey, you got a job." And by the end of the night, I said, "Just show up tomorrow." And then he finally showed up, and I put him to work. But no, he did a great job. DJ, man, just another guy, just hungry for football. Just hungry for football. And I knew he was going to make a darn good coach, and he was another one that when it was his turn to move over to Miege with Tim, he went over there, and I gave him my blessing, and I always kind of felt like the Godfather. Some of these guys coming, do you mind if I'm like, you got to go, you got a family to take care of. Don't worry about me. So, but he did that. Tom Rackey over at St. James, one of my guys. He came to Pius in '99 and helped me there till about '05 and did a wonderful job. Then try to think who else, man. There's been a few. I don't know if you remember old Charlie Lee that used to.
Okay.
Charlie Lee used to be at UCM.
Yep, UCM.
Yeah, he coached with me when he first came. When he came back to Kansas City, he coached there with me for a while.
Yeah,
and,
I think.
And then he started working with Willie over there at UCM.
Yeah, I took some kids to when I was at Roosevelt in Des Moines under Coach Hornback. We came down to the UCM camp.
Yeah.
And it would have been, I don't know, 2003, 2004, 2005, somewhere in there.
Yep.
And I think Charlie Lee was one of those guys over there.
Oh, yeah. I was probably there, too. I used to work that camp every year, Willie and those guys and Charlie. And Charlie coached with me before he went over there. And I loved him. Charlie, he was another guy, just bundle of energy and always had something working. And so,
oh, yeah.
Some of those coaches' nights out after those camps, I'm sure, are legendary. But
I got some stories, but I'm not going to tell those on the air here.
No. We don't have to do those.
Let's just say we had a good time.
That's right. As I say, you always you always come back to camp the next year. That's the deal.
Yeah, exactly. Had a good time. But yeah. Any more guys that you remember that stand out that have went on and done other things?
Oh, there's just like I said,
there's a ton of them.
Ton of kids, sure. And it's one of those deals every year. It gets. Kids come back and you talk about it and you see what they're doing. I'm actually trying to talk my son out of being a coach, and I want him to coach, but I don't want him to be a teacher because he's got to be able to take care of me when I get older.
There you go.
I got to make sure he does something that he's going to earn a living on. So,
I got an idea for how to change the coaching structure. You make your head coach really the assistant. He's the one that handles the parents, and the assistant coach still getting the pay grade he got as a head coach, and he just worries about coaching.
And then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, the head coach worries about the parents.
I tell you what, at St. Pius, I didn't. Parents were always exceptional. I can think back over 30-some years, in my 25 years, I think I had one deal with a parent. They were always so just happy and excited about football. Never really had an issue with that. So,
Yeah, I know. I'm fortunate right now at Shawnee Mission East, and